We're back on the early edge here on CBS Sports Network, and Mackenzie Brooks joins the fray with Danny Brasco and Larry Hartstein. It's time to get to our props. We're going to go passing, rushing, receiving, game props. We're going to start with passing props, and I'm a little upset, Mackenzie, because you know I'm going to go to you first. And you also know I'm a Commanders fan. I got Santana Moss right behind me holding up the 21 for Sean Taylor. And here you are giving out your first play. I don't even want to say it out loud, so I'm going to let you say it.
Yeah, listen, I'm here to stir the pot a little bit, let's shake things up in the B block here, make you a little bit upset. Jaden Daniels to throw an interception is priced around even money right now. Now, this is more a play on the line. I think this should be a little bit pricier. He hasn't played in a little bit, and I think this is based off the Bears, and all of their secondary guys being injured and off the field. This is a team that has 7 interceptions in 4 games played. They're second in the league right now, and they have played 2 less games than most people here. So I understand that, there's a good history and a clean history with Jaden Daniels here, but I think between that and between almost the lazy line of just the battered with injuries defense we're getting with the Bears, we're getting this even money line. I mean, this is prime time. You're trying to look better than the other sophomore quarterback in Caleb Williams. He has so many injured receivers. There's going to be some throws to some random guys out there tonight. We're just going to have to be comfortable with that. And I think one of those might end up in an interception.
I got to give a shout out to Sharon and the entire crew for having a graphic almost as a rebuttal to what Mackenzie was saying with Jaden Daniels and Robert Griffin III on the graphic as 2 of 4 quarterbacks there. Danny Brasco, good news. We've got another side of the coin here. How about a no interception prop for Jaden Daniels?
I think Hens makes a good argument, but I think the Bears are being a little overvalued in the secondary because of Geno Smith throwing the ball 3 times directly at the free safety. I think he forgot which color his team was wearing in that game. So yes, they are good on, they did get Kyler Gordon back in the secondary, but they remain without Jalen Johnson, who I feel is their best defensive back. And Kens makes the argument for the number. I actually feel like I'm getting value on the no interception at -128. That's about a 56% implied odds. And Daniels threw 7 interceptions in 20 regular season games thus far in his career. It's about 35%. So I feel like we have an edge on the number there. He hasn't thrown one yet this season, and I'm willing to bet that he's a more responsible game manager in his sophomore campaign. So give me Daniels not to throw a pick and keep it under wraps in this game.
Larry Hartstein, as the only attorney on this panel, I feel like I have to rule, and the court does rule in favor of Danny Brasco. Larry, talk to me about Josh Allen.
Shocker there on your ruling, Sia. But I'm going with Josh Allen under passing yards, under 229.5. His leading receiver, Dalton Kincaid, is questionable. He's facing a Falcons defense that's given up 135 passing yards per game. That's not a misprint. They have played some bad quarterbacks, but Baker Mayfield only got 167 against this team in Atlanta. They get their top cornerback in A.J. Terrell. He's back in the lineup coming off the bye. But this really comes down to what Joe Brady said after the loss to the Patriots. We need to feed James Cook early and often. This is going to be a heavy running game on both sides of the ball, and Josh Allen stays under.
Maybe we're leaning under in this game as well. We'll find out later in the show. I've got Caleb Williams over 31.5 pass attempts. I'll keep this super short so we can get to the rushing props. I just don't think he's going to be super efficient. I think he is going to throw the ball around quite a bit. But again, we know he's not exactly, from a completion percentage, the best quarterback there. Washington's going to bring a lot of pressure. He's even more inaccurate under pressure, like most quarterbacks are. But he's, curiously, the completion percentage is curiously low when the rush gets there. So I'm going to take his over 31.5 pass attempts because I'm not looking for efficiency, but I am looking for volume. Rushing props. Danny Brasco, kick us off.
Man, you put Josh Allen in a dome and you're going to give me even money on him to score. I got to take that. And I agree with Larry's points about the Falcons secondary. I think the Bills are going to be forced to run the ball more often. And Josh Allen has already run 12 times inside the 5-yard line. So I expect him to maybe call his own number against a pretty stout Falcons defense against the run as well. Allen has played 9 career dome games. He's got 11 rushing touchdowns in those. So I may even sprinkle 2+ TDs at plus 650, see ya.
Mackenzie, you're on Caleb Williams here.
Yeah, I like him to use his legs here, and I think there's a split that his coaching staff probably is aware of and familiar with, and his passer rating is so much better when he's also using his legs. Like when he's seen as a dual threat quarterback, it directly correlates positively to what you see with the passing game. And I also have to play into the storyline a little bit. Obviously, Jaden Daniels of the two has been the better runner so far in their careers. I feel like he'll want to show a little bit that he can also use his legs. Now, he does have lower splits on the road, but this is technically a hometown on tour. So I'm going to call it a home game for him as well. And he had 41 against Washington last year. So look for him to use his legs for the storylines, but also probably his coaching staff even telling him you'll have a better passing game if you also use your legs.
Absolutely. And Washington plays a ton of man defense, at least relative to most teams. So that's going to have Caleb Williams, and especially with that pressure rate, scrambling a little bit. So it's not even the design runs, which I think Mackenzie will have some. It's that scrambling. I love this play. Larry, talk to me about your rushing prop.
Well, Bijan Robinson has a great matchup tonight. He's faced tough run defenses thus far, but now he faces the Bills, #1 in explosive runs allowed. They're also giving up 7.3 yards on outside runs. And Bijan Robinson, he's averaging 4.2 yards after contact. So this is a dream matchup. We know the Falcons love to run the ball pretty much more than any other team in the league. I also like Algier to go over his number, which is much, much lower. But I think heavy ground games on both sides.
Speaking of dream matchups, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I put this in at SportsLine Friday morning and before our prop show at 63.5 rushing yards. It's now 67.5, and I still like it there. This Bears defense, terrible against the run, allowing 6.1 yards per carry, worst in the league. I don't think the bye is going to fix those issues against the #1 rushing offense in the league in the Washington Commanders. So give me the now primary running back for Washington, JCM, over 67.5 rushing yards. Let's go to receiving props. Mackenzie, I'm going back to you. Who do you like?
I like Joshua Palmer here, over 18.5 receiving yards. Now, is he the flashiest player on the field? No, but the Bills offense, listen, they're tricky. Them and the Packers, I always have a hard time trying to figure out who's going to get the ball and who's going to hit their overs. But you look at some of the lines for his other teammates, more of the key teammates here. You talk about Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Dawson Knox. All of these guys, their yard lines add up to 150. And you have Josh Allen's passing prop line that's like 230. So math tells me we have about 80 unaccounted for yards. I'm willing to believe 19 of them can go to Palmer here. And if you go back to his splits last season with the Chargers, like this is essentially a lock. You're talking about over 16-4 in that span. So don't want to overthink it here. Even 1, maybe 2 receptions could get us here.
All right, Danny, before I go to your pick, I'm going to give out mine because they're correlated. I've got Rome Odunze over 67.5 receiving yards. I actually think you can find this at 66.5 as well. Primary target for Caleb Williams, obviously. I mean, he's absolutely smashing it. 9+ targets on average, or I should say right around 9 targets through 4 games here. And I just think this over 5 games. Actually, it's 4 because of the bye. I think this is a situation where, especially with the pressure that Caleb Williams is going to receive, he's going to lock in on his primary targets for some chunk plays as well. Now, Danny, I like the receiving yards. You like the anytime touchdown.
I may have to play both because Rome has a great matchup, like you mentioned, against man coverage, which the Bears play at a pretty heavy rate. And I think that, the Commanders play at a top 10 rate, I should say. And against that, you see him getting 40+% of the target share. So Rome going to get the looks. He's scoring in every game, see. As long as we're getting plus 150 range here, I think it's still worth a bet. So Rome to go over his receiving yards and to score feel like smart plays tonight.
Larry, you like to look at the other side of the ball here. Not a lot of healthy pass catchers for the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, no Terry McLaurin, no Noah Brown. Deebo Samuel had a 56% first read target share last time out from Jaden Daniels. That's incredible. 17 targets the past 2 weeks, 14 catches, going over 5.5 catches for Deebo Samuel. My biggest concern is his heel injury and should that flare up during the game and maybe knock him out. But otherwise, I love him to get 6 or more grabs.
All right, let's talk about touchdown scores. Let's skip ahead there because that's always a fun little bit of a sprinkle bet. Let's go Bills-Falcons. Larry, kick us off. Who's your first touchdown score?
Wow, well, I actually provided one for the other game, but I will take Bijan Robinson in the Falcons game, and I'll take Deebo Samuel because in addition to the target share that we talked about, when they get inside the 10-yard line, he's getting 60% of the throws. He has a 30% target share in the red zone. He scored 4 times already, 3 receiving touchdowns and 1 on the ground. So I love Deebo to be the first TD.
All right, Mackenzie, let's stick to Bills-Falcons for now. Who's your first touchdown score?
I'll go Josh Allen. I mean, typically I like to go the 10-1 or over, as most of us on this screen know as well from our streams. But like you were saying with the dome, Danny, it's like, why would I not take this plus 700? It's one of those where you're just like, you're going to watch it happen on the screen. You're going to beat yourself up for not sprinkling on that play.
Danny, I thought you were going to go with Josh Allen, but I know how this segment goes. You're always trying to one-up Mackenzie Brooks with something definitely longer than what she's got. So talk to me about your play.
This is our back and forth, Ken's. I had to go with Dawson Knox because Ken's actually very accurately pointed out the cast of receivers that always are live to score first for the Bills. You really never know. It's receiver by committee. So I'm going to go with the guy that everyone will be frustrated they didn't sprinkle when he scores, and it's Dawson Knox at plus 1,700. Team veteran. We're all looking at a lot of under 10-1 shots with Cook and Allen. I want to go with a long shot, so give me Knox.
All right, I've got a relatively long shot here. I'm surprised the number is this large. Maybe it's now shifted to 13-1 here on Khalil Shakir. I know we don't know what to do. Mackenzie, you kind of alluded to it with the pass catchers for the Bills. I kind of like the matchup for Khalil Shakir here. And I think he's going to be, instead of Dalton Kincaid, perhaps, I think he's going to be the safety blanket, or at least the 1A to Dalton Kincaid, who has been quite the safety blanket for Josh Allen. So give me Khalil Shakir at 14-1 to be your first touchdown score. All right. We know, Larry, you like Deebo Samuel at plus 900 in this Commanders-Bears game. I love that play, by the way. Mackenzie, talk to me about your play because I also love this one.
Yeah, I don't want to give it too much breath, but we're talking about Rome Odunze, and now we get him at 10-1, which feels crazy to me. Obviously, a really comfortable target here for his quarterback. And again, this is a play on the numbers. If I get 10-1 with one of the best receivers on the field, I'm going to take it.
Breaking news, Danny is not trying to one-up Mackenzie Brooks here.
Let's go.
Am I seeing this correctly? Danny, you're agreeing with Mackenzie Brooks?
It's got to be a must bet now. I talked about the target share against man coverage. Rome just rips it up. Commanders are going to play a lot of that. Simple bet. I totally agree with her. The number is worth a play.
Yeah, I think it is worth a play. I'm going to go with Zach Ertz, who Larry talked about the pass catchers or the lack of pass catchers for Washington. I just don't think there's anybody reliable beyond Deebo Samuel. That other person would be Zach Ertz. Hasn't done a lot lately, but in the end zone, I think he's going to be somebody that JD looks at. 14-1, I think, is a pretty good play for the team that I think is probably, but not definitely, going to score first. 14-1, Zach Ertz. All right, we got some rushing props. We got some receiving props, passing props, first touchdown props out of the way. Now we turn the tables to actually sides and totals. Who do we actually think is going to cover the spread, win these games? That's a picture of Kirk Cousins, folks. Blast from the past. Mackenzie Brooks leaves us, but Mike McClure joins us. That's coming up next. Monday Night Football bets on the early edge. It's time to attack the sides and totals for both of these Monday Night Football games. We get carte blanche. We get to choose whatever side or total we want to choose. Mike McClure, you joined the party, so you get to go first. What's your favorite side here on a doubleheader for Monday Night Football?
See, I really like the Bills here, minus 3.5 now in the market. I made the number 6.5. The SportsLine model makes this number all the way up to 14. And while I certainly can't get to that number, I think it should definitely be 6 or more here in this spot. You talk about Buffalo. They lost that game to the New England Patriots. However, if you looked at the schedule, in my opinion, that was one of the more likely first losses there for the team. When you talk about in this situation, where will we see them losing? It's a division game. I think when you put them on the road in kind of a must-win bounce-back spot, a little additional time to prepare being a Monday night game, I just think they're the better team. I think the Falcons defensively are a little inflated based off the quarterbacks they've played so far. Give me Josh Allen and the Bills here, minus 3.5.
Now, Larry, Mike got this at 3.5. You saw the Falcons at plus 4.5, and you seized that. Now, you got to make the argument either way because Mike sees value, probably at least a little bit of value in that 4.5 number, but I don't want to speak for him because he got the 3.5. Talk to me about your Falcons play.
Yeah, I got the Falcons at 5. I would still play them even at the 3.5, although don't love it as much. And you look at that Bills schedule, I think this is really an argument over, what we perceive the Bills to be. But when you beat the Jets, the Saints, and the Dolphins, and you're in trouble in those games against the Saints and the Dolphins, and then you play the Patriots and you lose at home, to me, there is some cause for concern, especially with that run defense in this matchup with the Falcons' top 10 O-line, with an exciting pair of backs in Algier and Bijan Robinson, of course, getting their top cornerback in A.J. Terrell. Matt Milano still out for Buffalo, though they do get Ed Oliver back. I think it's going to be an exciting, tight game that goes down to the wire. I definitely want the home dog, though.
Danny, you get to break the tie here because you also have a pick in this game.
It's just a lean for me, see. I don't think I'm going to actually get to the window with it, but I'm leaning slightly towards the Falcons plus the 4.5, based on what Larry mentioned, the Bills' bad run defense. They're 28th in EPA per play against the run, and Bijan Robinson and them may be able to just play keep away. That's how you beat these best QBs, right? As they say about amazing offensive talents, you can't stop him, you can only hope to contain him. So keep Josh Allen on the sideline, and I think they have a chance to cover this number. The reason it's only a lean, Sia, is because the trends for the Bills are mightily in the other way. Josh Allen in dome games for his career, 10-13-1 against the spread, or excuse me, 10-3-1 against the spread. And Raheem Morris, head coach for the Falcons, as a home underdog, 4-16 against the spread. That made me stay far away from this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the other game here, and this sounds like a homer pick. And I'll be honest, my official plays up at SportsLine are in the player prop department, so I'll admit, Danny, this is also a lean for me. Commanders minus 4.5, if that's the number you can get. I mean, I guess if it's inflated to 5.5, which it is at some places, I think you can take it there too. I just don't trust this Bears team. I understand they're coming off a bye. I don't trust them, particularly away from home, but I certainly don't trust Caleb Williams, even against this Washington defense that has some liability, particularly on the back end. But I do think the Washington defense will get some pressure on Caleb Williams. I think the offense will be able to run the ball quite easily on this Bears defense. And it's a big number, but I think they end up covering the spread here. And I just can't shake off Caleb Williams and the Bears going to Las Vegas and almost losing that game to a very bad Geno Smith-led team. This is a different story. I think Washington ends up rolling here. Let's go to our favorite total. Larry, I start with you.
Yeah, I like the Commanders to get over 27.5. You look at their 3 wins this season, they've come in blowout fashion by 15 or more points each time. And I know the Commanders didn't put up a lot of points in the meeting last year that ended with the Hail Mary, but Jaden Daniels was spectacular, throwing for over 300 yards. And the Bears are giving up 6.7 yards per play. That is the most in the NFL, even though they should get a couple of defenders back. I just don't see them slowing down Washington at all. As long as Debo plays, he's questionable. They need him for this offense to go. But I think it's a big night for the Commanders on the ground and through the air with Debo.
It does look like Debo Samuel is going to play this game as of, this hour on a Monday morning. Mike, you have a slightly contrarian play to Larry's play, but both could hit.
Yeah, both certainly paths to both hitting here. It's going to be the under in that Bears Commanders game at 49.5. Look, I think that Washington's going to have success moving the football, but I think with that might come using some of that actual game clock here. I think that they will keep that Bears offense off the field here, but I think the Bears defense will improve just enough to kind of bend but don't break, talking about longer sustained drives, eating clock, and just a lot has to go right to go over numbers like 47, for example. So we know 43, 44 becoming key, but up to 49.5, there's a lot of paths here to both teams in the 20s and still going under. So I'll go under 49.5.
Danny, you and I are on the other side of this Bills-Falcons game because I like the under, and it really goes to what we've been talking about the Washington game, but more so with the Buffalo game, where I think both teams are going to be able to control the ball with the running game, probably successfully, which will lead to points, but I do see both teams stuttering when it gets to the red zone. We've seen that the Atlanta Falcons have big problems when they get to the red zone. So I think we're going to see a lot of long, sustained drives. So that's why I like the under in the Bills-Falcons game, 49.5. But Danny, you like the over.
Yeah, just a slight lean as well here. And I agree with your game script. That could certainly play out to the under. But I also agree with some points that Mike made about the Falcons secondary being a little bit inflated based on the competition they played. Now you get a Josh Allen who's angry off a loss to a division rival. And see it just on general principle, I can't take an under in a dome game featuring Josh Allen. So I'll lean to the over. I'll probably stay away from this one, though.
Fair enough. Mike, we go to a first half or a first quarter bet or a team total bet. This is your department. We were on the early edge earlier this morning where you gave out this play on the Bills, but speak to everybody else who may have missed that show on the SportsLine YouTube channel.
Yeah, then look, I generally play these at 12.5 or 13. Willing to go to 13.5 here on Buffalo, looking for 14 first half points. Buffalo, over the last few years, really under Josh Allen, has been a team that's been able to score in the first half of football games. When you look at this spot, though, it's additional time to prepare, coming off a loss to that divisional opponent, ideal playing conditions. I think that they're going to have success early here, looking for 2 touchdowns. I think it starts with an opening drive touchdown, frankly, but I'm not so sure that that Buffalo can stop Atlanta, and I don't think Atlanta can stop Buffalo here in this particular spot. So give me the team total over 13.5, looking for 14. Again, this team averaged 14.5 a season ago, have had success on the road already early in first halves this year. I think it continues tonight.
All right, Larry, we're going to stay in that game. You like a Falcons team total?
Yeah, I like them over for the full game because what they do and what they want to do is run the ball behind their top 10 O-line, and that meshes perfectly with what Buffalo can't stop. They are just terrible at defending the run, especially outside runs, giving up 7.3 yards per play. I think you're going to see Bijan get to the outside, break some explosives. He has been awesome this year, especially breaking tackles and then making the most of that after he breaks the tackle. So give me the Falcons over their team total to get to 23.
All right, I'll go very quickly here, Danny. We have a little bit of a contrast with our picks again here, but I like a first quarter play plus a half on actually the Chicago Bears. I like how they come out of games. I like the scripted plays. I think they can maybe put up a field goal or a touchdown early and maybe win the first quarter, but I'm getting them plus a half at minus 118. Brasco, what do you like?
Yeah, you cash that if they tie the first quarter, too. I like the Commanders, though, to ultimately win the first half by a field goal. I found minus 2.5 on Bet Rivers. It's minus 3.5 everywhere else, and that's obviously a very key number there. Mainly, it's fading Caleb Williams. He's the worst first half quarterback over the last 2 seasons, 1-9 against the first half spread. So I think a lot of people might look for a Bears off a bye week starting fast. I think not. I think it's the Commanders at home who start strong, and I like them to win the first half by 2.5 or more.